Not reconnect, but relocate this.
Oh,
Because I would like to be able to.
show people who you're talking to.
Yeah. That would be a nice thing.
Oh, does Mike keep rolling me cigarettes every time he comes in now? I have the one in my ear. But... I like people to see the Wicked Witch.
So,
So yeah, no, what I was in at before with the job and the chat GPT is normally it takes me about 20 minutes, a half hour to write the cover.
right.
It does it in like a minute. So like the amount of just being able to even apply to places is phenomenally huge. I kind of wish I knew about it. It didn't come out until after I lost my job, but it would have made a huge difference. That's for sure. Um, the focus that it's on, like I said, you don't need to have this screen up anymore after you start streaming. I mean, I guess you could, but you're going to be needing to navigate the tabs in order to do what you want to do. I mean, there'll be an occasion where you can tap on it, but what you're going to have to do is hit that window capture again if you want to capture a different screen, and then just tell it what screen to capture.
Not too far over. Still.
Bug list, baby. Nobody ever hears me. They always say I speak too low. Do I speak low? Been getting it for like 5, 6 years now. I always feel like I speak with a very strong voice. I come out pretty damn crystal clear when I stream. I'm like, you speak too low.
I rotate this.
Oh, yeah, I've never been able to the camera, so I don't really know, but it's better for this. Dave, how's your bug list coming along? How's your bug list coming along? How big is it? That's why we were discussing a struggle button, so that it's not really necessarily so cheap and they get out, but I have the opportunity to get out. Well, how about whenever you get caught, if you have something, George takes something away at random? That could be a thing also. And it could also cushion a cheap death. I mean, you're still going to get people bitching about it. The important part. How to extend people's. I figured you would want to. Well, I figure eventually you're going to want to do some asset hunting and clean up those textures to make them usable. Yeah. Keep my fingers crossed that You get a lot of hits and downloads and bad when I see that they're donating the man hundreds of dollars just to talk shit. I can't fathom what they would pay to have somebody make shit. What? Oh. You felt like you finally slowed down and then it started up again?
Yep.
Is it causing like an issue with the stomach?
I don't hurt.
Okay. Possibly.
Cut my head off. Cut your head off too.
Just up a bit. Let's see. There you go. Is that better?
Much better. Well, we got to scoot over just a bit. Right there. Right there. All right. So
That's fine.
we're already streaming. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh shit.
We just haven't told anybody or changed tags or did anything like that, but
But we're up, right?
yes, but we are streaming.
Okay. Okay. So let's go into this. Let's go into this. CNN interview.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so at least I'll be quiet for it most of it.
Okay. Who's got the whole interview though?
How long was the interview?
It was a good.
I wouldn't be surprised if YouTube already got paid by CNN to pull it. So
Oh, these little bitches, they take it down. Okay, well, we will go deeper in.
well, I just wouldn't have it as a CNN. Somebody has to have it. Usually redacted will put up a good majority of it.
I streamed it last night, so it should be my.
I don't think you streamed the whole. We didn't stream last night. It was the night before.
No, I mean I watched it last night. Yesterday. Oh yeah, I watched it on Crowder.
Crowder, or he doesn't have that showing. I don't know how it freaking works.
CNN. Let's try. I hate this game.
Town hall. Maybe that's what you need to put episode because that's just what it is. It's all TV.
The CNN scrubbed the whole entire thing off.
Well, I would say YouTube scrubbed the whole entire thing off because they want you to watch their politics and how they see politics. So, limit the information scope.
Okay, so who would have?
I don't have my phone with me. Otherwise, I probably would have found it by now. Let me get that.
It just goes to show you how crappy. Yeah, I think you're right. We're going to have to find Rumble. How about we just hit Rumble switch? Talking to myself, Mr. Joe. Talking to myself. Yeah. At what time do we have to leave for your 4? Okay.
Yeah, appointment's 4:40. So when we get there at 40 minutes.
Is that what's the get? 40 minutes, or she wants you there like 40 minutes early?
To the traffic. It's up, just remember the traffic and you know how far it is. Whatever time you say, we'll go.
We'll run it from right here, Jeff Mac Live. I don't want to do that.
All right. Oh, you're looking at Rumble right now.
Let's go with Badlands Media.
CNN. We'll begin shortly.
How about?
Have we watched Badlands Media before?
No, we have not.
Okay. We get to evaluate this man who has 134,000 followers on Rumble. Wow. How long does it take? 10 minutes?
Nomination for President Donald Trump.
CNN has it as a podcast. But you can watch the whole thing.
Thank you for being here tonight. We got quite a crowd.
Thank you.
President Trump, thank you for your time here tonight. We got a great crowd here in New Hampshire, a lot of voters. We have a lot of questions about what your 2024 term would look like, what another Trump term would look like. We'll get to the voters shortly, but your poll showed that you were dominating the Republican race right now, but you were also under active federal investigation for trying to overturn the 2020 election results. Your first term ended with a deadly riot at the Capitol, and you still have not publicly acknowledged the 2020 election results. Why should Americans put you back in the White House?
Because we did fantastically. We got 12 million more votes.
Okay. So she basically said he has never formally recognized basically the insurrection from January 6th. And if he's running for president, will he officially recognize the insurrection from January 6th?
Okay.
And you would, a little history behind this woman. She used to be in the press corps. She used to routinely grill him when he would do his hour-long plus daily press briefings that the wonderfully overly popular Joe Biden never does. Will never do. Will never sit in front of the press corps like Donald did every day.
Yeah, no,
and face the court.
I agree with that.
But this woman needs to sit there and grill Donald Trump over the lies that the media was trying to spin, and he handled her then. And I guess they thought that she would handle him now that he's been out of the presidency.
Well, how would you think that she handled him then?
No, he still owned her.
Oh.
He still owned her. This woman is obviously not fit to be an aggressive lead. anchor on a new
She
show.
looks kind of young for it too. I know they got rid of all their old staff because they don't want people to remember things, but you know, this woman looks like she doesn't have the experience to handle not necessarily such a strong figure, but such a strong role.
Right.
I personally, if I was in CNN, wouldn't have given her that chance at the
They
moment.
want people like her.
All right, let's let this interview roll for a little while.
Okay.
Because I stopped it here because he starts owning this lady here.
Right off the bat.
So we had as you know, in 2016, I actually say we did far better in that election. Got the most that anybody's ever gotten as a sitting president of the United States. I think that when you look at that result and when you look at what happened during that election, unless you're a very stupid person, you see what happens. A lot of the people in this audience, and maybe a couple that don't, but most people understand what happened. It was a rigged election, and it's a shame that we had to go through it. It's very bad for our country. All over the world, they looked at it, and they saw exactly what everyone else saw. You look, even if you just look recently with the 51 intelligence agents, that made a 16-point difference. If you look at the FBI, and Twitter, they call it Twitter files, made a big difference. If you look at
Mr. President, back to what you just said there, though, it was not a rigged election. It was not a stolen election. You and your supporters lost more than 60 court cases on the election. It's been nearly 2.5 years. Can you publicly acknowledge that you did lose the 2020 election?
Let me just go on. If you look at True the Vote, they found millions of votes on camera, on government cameras, where they were stuffing ballot boxes. So with all of that, I think it's a shame that what happened. I think it's a very sad thing for our country. I think it's a very sad thing, frankly, for the world, because if you look at what's gone to our country has gone to hell. Our borders are bad. Our military has been bad. You look at the taxes, you look at inflation, what's happened to inflation. It's just destroying our country. We've really become, in many ways, a third world country. And it's very sad what's happened in this administration. And it's something that will turn around on day one. We were energy independent. Now energy is at a level that we've never had to pay before. Nobody can afford to continue to pay what's happening with energy. But we were energy independent. We were getting out of Afghanistan with strength and with dignity. And instead we got out, we looked like fools, probably the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
We have a lot of questions about the economy and foreign policy tonight, but what you just said there, Republican officials debunked those claims about fraudulent ballots. We want to give you a chance tonight. Republican officials in Georgia and every single state. There is no your own election officials, Mr. President. So we wanted to give you a chance.
People were afraid to take on the issue. But we have a big problem in this country. We have elections that were horrible. If you look at what happened in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, if you look at what happened in Detroit, Michigan, if you look at what happened in Atlanta, millions of votes. And all you have to do is take a look at government cameras. You'll see them. People going to 28 different voting booths to vote, to put in 7 ballots apiece.
Mr. President, I have to stop you there because there is no evidence of that. Your own election officials testified to that and have said that Republicans in these states did this. In Georgia, there were multiple recounts, including a hand recount. We have questions about the claims that you're making tonight from voters on this topic. I want to bring in Scott Dustin from Concord. He works in insurance litigation. He's an undeclared voter. That's what they call independents here in New Hampshire, as you know. He did vote for you in 2020. Scott, what's your question for the president?
On his neck.
Hi, President Trump. Welcome back to New Hampshire.
Thank you.
Will you suspend polarizing talk of election fraud during your run for president?
Will I suspend, excuse me, what?
Will you suspend polarizing talk of election fraud during your run for president?
Yeah, unless I see election fraud. If I see election fraud, I think I have an obligation to say it. And you know what we went through a short while ago has really put our country in a big problem. I hope to do that. I hope we're going to have very honest elections. We should have voter ID. We should have one-day elections. We should have paper ballots instead of these mail-in votes. But the answer is yes, and I hope that it's going to be very straight up, because if it's going to be straight up, we're going to win the election.
So you will suspend talk to his question about the 2020 election on the campaign trail?
I guess we're going to just win. We're at a point now, we're getting so close. Let's just win it again and straighten out our country.
One other question on this.
It's like read the small print shit. It's a great
When
fucking
you talked about the
gag.
2020 election results in the past, you once suggested terminating the Constitution. Do you stand by those comments?
No. You were able to do certain things. I'm not talking about terminating the Constitution. I'm talking about cherishing the Constitution. The Constitution says that we're supposed to have legal and well maintained and well looked at elections. And we didn't have that. I cherish our Constitution, but we have to live up to the Constitution. We weren't living up to the Constitution.
Terminating the
I was just saying there's no evidence of that election fraud. You did once
You're
tweet.
supposed to say that, but I'm glad you say that. But look,
That's
that
the
was a
truth, Mr.
horrible
President.
election. That was a horrible election. And unless somebody's very stupid, and I know you very well, you're not stupid at all.
Okay. One thing I know.
You're supposed to be saying that, so unless you're very stupid, and I know you're not stupid.
No. Let me. Sorry, I'm going to go here for a second.
No, go where?
I want to turn up the mic.
Our mic?
Yeah.
I mean, especially when the desktop audio is muted, I mean, we're the only thing to be heard. We don't really need to turn it.
But I was listening to it last night from the one that we did earlier at 3 a.m. in the morning yesterday.
Okay.
The volume was low.
The volume was low?
So do we go to settings?
Well, we still have a smidge over there on the bar if you just want to put that all the way up.
Okay.
And minimize the decibels. But chances are we lowered that there. Well, it also might be the position of the mic. The further away with the mic of this quality, even just moving it a few inches can make a big difference as to whether or not you're being heard.
No. Where's that? Right there. Let's go back.
Okay.
But you perhaps are given an agenda or you have an agenda. Look, we have to have honest elections in our country. We have open borders. We have
honest elections. Honest.
Yeah.
You look at what's happening. I mean, we have elections, we have open borders. Look at what's happening on our southern border. Millions and millions of people are coming in. They're being released from prisons. They're being released from mental institutions. And we have millions of people pouring into our country. And now they're getting rid of Title 42, which I put on, which kept people out that were sick.
And Mr. President, we have a lot of questions about immigration to get to tonight. Obviously, that's a big topic, especially given what's expected to happen tomorrow. But I want to talk about the influence you have over your voters. It's very clear that you are very influential and you have a lot of impact. I've been to many of your rallies and seen it up close, which raised a lot of questions about the influence that we saw that you had on them on January 6th and your supporters when they attacked the Capitol.
Yes, you would
Do you have any regrets about your actions on January 6th?
A couple of questions.
Well, you know, January 6th was, again, we go back to it, but January 6th had to do with the fact that hundreds of thousands of people, and you don't see the pictures very often. A lot of the people here probably were there. January 6th, it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken to. That was prior to the walk down to the Capitol building. I don't think, and I've spoken to hundreds of thousands of people. I've never spoken to a crowd as large as this. And that was because they thought the election was rigged. And they were there proud. They were there with love in their heart. That was an unbelievable, and it was a beautiful day. And what I was asked to do, I wasn't involved in it very much. I was asked to come in when I make a speech. I made a speech. I said, walk peacefully and patriotically, you know, many different things. In fact, I brought a list of things. I don't want to bore the audience, but we can go sentence after sentence after sentence of things I said and things I put out. One of the big problems was that Nancy Pelosi, Crazy Nancy as I affectionately call her, Crazy Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington were in charge, as you know, of security. And they did not do their job.
You're in charge of that.
They are in charge. Well, I offered them National Guard. I said, we'll give you soldiers, we'll give you National Guard, we'll give you whatever you want. And they turned me down. And in fact, she turned me down. She turned me down in writing. They turned me down.
But your acting defense secretary, Chris Miller, at the time, he says you never gave a formal order to deploy the National Guard. But when it came to that day,
just the opposite. Chris Miller wrote a book. And he's a fantastic guy, and
he
was ready to go. They turned him down. If you look, the mayor of Washington, D.C., lovely lady, she said, we don't want it, we don't like the look. Nancy Pelosi said, oh, we don't like the look. If they would have had just, I offered them 10,000 soldiers. I said, It could be 10, it could be more, but I offered them specifically 10,000 soldiers. If they would have taken 500 soldiers, you wouldn't have had the problem. They turned it down. And if you look at the Inspector General report, he says they turned it down. They made a terrible mistake.
Well, Chris Miller was your acting defense secretary. He says you never gave that order. But back to what happened on that day. You said you weren't. He has testified that, Mr. President. But you said you weren't very involved that day. You did tell your supporters to come to Washington. You tweeted about it, about that speech that happened on the rally.
Am I allowed to say that?
When they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers, why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home?
I don't believe it did. Oh, let me pull it out. So if you look at, on January 5th, the day before, I said, please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. Stay peaceful. This was the day before, and this was in the form of Twitter. Now use Truth Social. I think it's far superior. Okay. I hope everybody's on Truth. If you look, January 6th, this is before 2:30. I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. This is right after, as it was happening. But what happened is they took it down. I don't know why. I think they took it down because it was so good. They didn't like it being up there. I am asking, and we didn't know until I got it back, because now I have 90 million people waiting for me to go back, but I'm on Truth and I'm staying on Truth. Listen, I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violation. We want no violation. We want no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you. That was at 2:30. That was very early.
Mr. President, I looked at the same timeline that you did.
Once it was clear, you didn't report that. You know why? Because it was.
We did report it. I was reporting that
taken
day.
down and it wasn't.
But when it was clear to you that they were not being peaceful, you saw them rushing the Capitol, breaking windows. They were hitting officers with flagpoles, tasing them, beating them up. When it was clear they weren't being peaceful, why did you wait 3 hours to tell them to leave the Capitol? They listened to you like no one else. You know that.
They do. I agree with that.
So
But
why didn't
Nancy
you tell them
Pelosi,
sooner?
Nancy Pelosi and the mayor are in charge. I assume they were able to do their job. They weren't.
But
And it
Pelosi's
kicked
not in
in.
charge of Capitol.
And if you remember, I made a video
No, Pelosi
right
is
outside
in
the
charge of
Oval
Capitol,
Office
period.
in the Rose Garden.
She is the head of the Capitol Security. She runs that department. So for this lady to outright come out and gaslight and lie,
I think that they're allowed to not know what the fuck they're saying as they talk. And for some reason, they could just fall back on, well, I didn't know. I just talk, you know?
And
Make
I'm
shit
very
up.
proud of that video. I didn't have a script. I don't need scripts like a certain person that's in
But what
the
time, the video, it came out much later after they'd already attacked the Capitol.
It was a great video. And it was a beautiful video. And it said, I mean, I don't want to read it all, but you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people of law and order. We love the people of law and order. We can't play into the hands of these other people. We have to have peace. Please go home. I said that. You know what they did? They took that down. And you know, to this day, it hasn't been put up. And the reason is it's so good and so conclusive that all of this nonsense and all of the tens of millions of dollars that have been spent are just wiped away with this one, and they've never put it back up. They had another one that they did the same.
But that video that you referenced there, it wasn't posted until 4:17 p.m.
No, I'll tell
They
you.
breached the Capitol at 2 p.m.
That video was
Mr.
posted,
4:17
yeah,
p.m.
before, actually a little bit before that.
Right, so that's my
Excuse
question.
me.
Because in that 3 hours, over
Excuse me,
140
it was
officers
posted
were
after the
injured.
first one I just read, though, and that was at 2 o'clock.
But I think the reason the timeline is so critical here, because
no, it's not.
I know it's
But
not.
here's the thing. When he was not at the Capitol building, he was not seeing it live. Okay? He was not seeing it live. He went from his speaking to back to the White House and then was reviewing what was going on. He didn't have a camera crew following him the whole time. He couldn't speak in in real time and respond. He's not a on the scene reporter. Let's face it, he's a president of the United States. He's got business to do. Okay. And these people did not know what was happening until it was actually happening. So how can he condemn something that, number one, hasn't been fully developed as a situation?
Yeah, I'm sort of curious about her 2 p.m. thing. I guess that's what time they decided that it started? The insurrection?
Couldn't have been, because they didn't go into the Capitol until when?
I don't remember. That's why I was asking.
Going back to your influence, in that 3 hours, over 140 officers were injured that day.
And a person named Ashley Babbitt was killed.
Yes.
You know what? She was killed, and she shouldn't have been killed. And that
And
thug
I
that
remember
killed
seeing
her,
the
there was
cops
no
in
reason to
the
shoot
shot
her.
They were putting
At blank range, cold blank range, they shot
shit
her.
was all a setup.
And she was a good person. She was a patriot.
One
There was
person
no
who was
reason.
there,
There was no reason. And he went on television to brag about the fact that he killed her.
the officer was not bragging about the fact that he
Oh,
killed
he
her.
was
But one
bragging.
person who was at the Capitol that day, as you know, was your vice president, Mike Pence, who says that you endangered his life on that day.
I don't
Do
think
you
he was in
feel,
any danger.
Mr. President, do you feel that you owe him an apology?
Did you hear her? What
Yeah,
she just said? Wait a second. Let's look at what she just said. Yes, every president, whether they are the former president or the current president, if they're the former president, they get referred to as Mr. President or President Trump or Mr. So-and-so, usually Mr. President.
Yeah.
This lady still knows that who should be in charge by Mr. President. She's referring
Well,
to
you're
him as the
supposed to call,
You're
even
right.
if they were in office
You're
and
right.
no longer in office, Mr. President.
this
I mean,
this
there's only so many of them.
No, because he did something wrong. He should have put the votes back to the state legislatures, and I think we would have had a different outcome. I really do.
But he doesn't have the authority to do that, as you know.
What?
The vice president does not have the authority to
Okay,
reject
you're
those.
right.
memorandum for security of the Army. Subject: employment guidance for the District of Columbia National Guard. This memorandum responds to your January 4, 2021 memorandum regarding the District of Columbia request for the DC National Guard support in response to planned demonstrations. from
Keyword
January-
planned. Demonstration.
You are authorized to approve the requested support.
Not a
of-
sudden insurrection. Planned demonstration.
Right, let's have this one out just now, because it's interesting. Let's keep it interesting, right? I like Mike Pence very much. He's a very fine man. He's a very nice man. He made a mistake. His lawyer said, you cannot move. I called him the human conveyor belt. I said, even if the votes, you mean, I talked to his lawyer, even if the votes are absolutely fraudulent, he can't say, yes, sir, he can't send that. And the Democrats played it and the rhinos played it. And then the election was over. They told him he couldn't do it. And Mike said to me, I can't do it. The lawyers told me he can't do it. They can't do it. But the lawyers were wrong, because right after the election, they all met, the rhinos and the Democrats, and they worked out a plan to make sure that future vice presidents don't do what I said you could do.
That's not what happened. You're referring to the Electoral Count Act.
That's
I've read that. There is no authority.
No,
Legal
excuse me.
experts, including Republican legal experts, say that he does not have that authority, Mr. President.
Caitlin,
But I want
why
to
did they change the law then, saying that you can't do it?
They didn't change the law. They strengthened the law because they were worried about
Well, they
presidents
strengthened it,
exploiting.
meaning you could do it.
Change the law.
Wait. Strengthening and changing. Same fucking thing, correct?
It is the same thing. It meant you changed
Did
the
you
law.
hello?
It's not what it
Oh,
means.
Thank you.
They strengthened the law
Mike
because
had
they
the
were
right to do it. They convinced him he didn't, and it was a horrible thing for our country. If you would have sent those votes back to Georgia, Pennsylvania, and other states, Wisconsin, which if you look at Wisconsin, they virtually admitted now that the election was rigged. If
They
you
have
would have
not
sent
admitted
those
that,
votes
Mr.
back
President.
to many of those states, they would not come back. in the affirmative. And remember what I said, and you just said it pretty much. You admitted what I said was right. They said he didn't have the right to do it, and he did have the right to do it, and that's why they changed the law, taking that right away.
I should note that your campaign paid for a recount that happened in Wisconsin. It actually had more votes for President Biden by the end of it. But I want to move on to Wayne Byer. He's a retired attorney from North Conway.
So this lady tries to throw in jabs that are not true, thinking that she's going to jab him with something and move on.
She spent a lot of time writing these questions, and she needs to say the questions she wrote and not get off script.
But here's the thing. She throws these jabs between questions that she thinks she's going to get out there, but yet President Trump won't let her just step on it. He responds to it. And here's a prime example. He just did.
So many illegal votes were cast in Wisconsin. And if you look in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they had so many illegal votes, they didn't even know what to do with them. You're absolutely right.
Mr. President, there weren't any fraudulent votes in Wisconsin. I do want to get to the audience, so we have questions for you from the audience. Wayne Byer is a retired attorney from North Conway. He has previously served in Republican administrations. He volunteered for the Republican Party in the 2022 midterms. He voted for you in 2020. What's your question for the President, Wayne?
Thank you for coming, Mr. President.
Thank you, Wayne.
My question to you is, will you pardon the January 6th rioters who were convicted of federal offenses?
I am inclined to pardon many of them. I can't say for every single one, because a couple of them probably they got out of control. But, you know, when you look at Antifa, what they've done to Portland, and if you look at Antifa, look at what they've done to Minneapolis and so many other places. Look at what they did to Seattle and BLM. Many people were killed. These people, I'm not trying to justify anything, but you have two standards of justice in this country. And what they've done, and I love that question, because what they've done to so many people is nothing. And then what they've done to these people, they've persecuted these people. And yeah, my answer is, I am most likely, if I get in, I will most likely, I would say it will be a large portion of them. You know, they did a very... And it'll be very early on. And they're living in hell right now.
So when it comes
They're
to
living
pardons,
in hell. And they're policemen, and they're firemen, and they're soldiers, and they're carpenters and electricians, and they're great people. Many of them are just great people.
Mr. President, one of the people who was convicted was a former policeman, but he was convicted of attacking a police officer, I should note. But when you said you are considering pardoning a large portion of those charged with crimes on January 6th, does that include the 4 Proud Boys members who were charged and convicted of seditious conspiracy?
I don't know.
Got so many issues with what she just said.
I'd have to look at their case, but I will say, in Washington, D.C., you cannot get a fair trial. You cannot. Just like in New York City, you can't get a fair trial either.
Speaking of New York, I want to ask you about a significant verdict that was reached yesterday. I know this is something you want to weigh in on as well. Manhattan jury found that you sexually abused the writer E. Jean Carroll and defamed her. You've denied this, but what do you say to voters who say it disqualifies you from being president?
Well, there aren't too many of them because my poll numbers just came out and they went up. Okay. I'm the only person in history who had a charge like that. And usually you leave office, you say, I'm sorry, but I'm going to back home. I'm back home to my family and everything. I'm going to be resigning. My poll numbers went up, and they went up with the other fake charge too. Because what's happening is they're doing this for election interference. This woman, I don't know her. I never met her. I have no idea who she is. I had a picture taken years ago with her and her husband, nice guy, John Johnson. He was a newscaster, very nice man. She called him an ape. Happens to be African American. Called him an ape. The judge wouldn't allow us to put that in. Her dog or her cat was named Vagina. The judge wouldn't allow to put that in. All of these things. But with her, they could put in anything. Access
This
Hollywood.
was a jury of 9 people who found you liable of sexual abuse. Do you think that will deter women from voting for you?
No, I don't think so, because I think the whole thing, just so you understand, ready? never met this woman. I never saw this woman. This woman said, I met her at the front door of Bergdorf Goodman, which I rarely go into other than for a couple of charities. I met her in the front door. She was about 60 years old. And this is like 22, 23 years ago. I met her in the front door of Bergdorf Goodman. I was immediately attracted to her, and she was immediately attracted to me. And we had this great chemistry. We're walking into a crowded department store. We had this great chemistry, and a few minutes later, we end up in a room, a dressing room of Bergdorf Goodman, right near the cash register. And then she found out there were locks on the door. So she said, I found one that was open. She found one. She learned this at trial. She found one that was open. What kind of a woman meets somebody and brings them up, and within minutes, you're playing hanky-panky in a dressing room, okay? I don't know if she was married then or not. John Johnson, I feel sorry for you, John Johnson.
Mr. President, can I
think of it.
I know you're recounting what she said, but Mr. President.
Let me just, if I could, because you asked a question. Just so you understand, if I was walking in, because I was very famous then, and I owned the Plaza Hotel right next door, and I owned buildings around it, I'm not going into a dressing room of a crowded department store. Then I say, if she was being raped, and by the way, they said she wasn't raped. Okay, that was her judge.
They found out he sexually abused her.
What? Say what they did. They said he didn't rape her. And I didn't do anything else either. You know what? Because I have no idea who the hell she is.
But Mr. President, can I ask you, given your recounting
I don't know who, and I tell you this.
But Mr. President, can I
and I swear on my children, which I never do. I have no idea who this woman. This is a fake story, made up story. We had a horrible Clinton-appointed judge. He was horrible. He allowed her to put everything in. He allowed us to put nothing in.
Mr. President, you're recounting your version of events here right now to the audience. You referenced the trial. You did not go to the trial and actually testify. Do you wish that you had testified?
No, it wouldn't have made a difference. This was a rigged deal. This was my lawyer said, sir, you don't have to do it. I actually said, I think I should. It would be respectful. They said, sir, don't do it. This is a fake story, and you don't want to give it credibility.
One thing you did do this.
And I swear, and I've never done that. And I swear to I have no idea who the hell. She's a whack job.
You did not testify in person in this trial. There was a taped deposition of you from October, and you defended the comments that you made on that Access Hollywood tape about being able to grab women how you want. Do you stand by those comments?
I said if you're famous and rich or whatever I said, but I said if you're a star, you are, and I said, women let you. I didn't say you grab. I said women let. You know, you didn't use that word. But if you look, women let you. Now, they said, will you take that back? I said, look, for a million years, this is the way it's been. I want to be honest. This is the way it's been. I can take it back if you'd like to, but if you're a famous person, if you're a star, and I'm not referring to myself, I'm saying people that are famous, people that are stars, people that are rich, people that are powerful, they tend to do pretty well in a lot of different ways, okay? And you would like me to take that back? I can't take it back because it happens to be true. I said it's been true for 1 million years, approximately 1 million years, perhaps a little bit longer than that.
So you stand by those comments?
Well, I don't want to lie.
Mr. President,
here's what you want to say.
Let's
A
get to
rich
the
and
audience
famous
questions
person
tonight.
has no advantage over anyone else. Well, you do have an advantage. And I say unfortunately, but that's the way it is.
You said fortunately or unfortunately.
Well, fortunately
Mr. President,
or
we have a lot of
unfortunately for
audience
her.
questions to get to tonight. I want to go back to the audience. We've got Danielle Rieger. She works as an oral surgery assistant. She's a Republican activist from Derry. She was a New Hampshire delegate for you in 2020. What's your question?
Hi, thank you so much for coming to New Hampshire to answer our questions. My question is regarding the economy. Over the past 2 years, we have seen the prices for everything skyrocket. From food to gas to utilities and insurance costs, many people's bills are up several $100s a month, including mine. If elected president again, what is the first thing you would do to help bring down the cost to make things more affordable?
Drill, baby, drill.
One of the starts to the downfall of our economy, and everybody called it, and I think everybody saw it coming, was when Joe Biden collapsed our fuel economy.
Yeah.
Ah,
The gas stove thing is really just the clincher for me.
way to go, New York. Way to go.
So we were energy independent. We were soon going to be energy dominant. And nobody had ever done what I did. We got oil down to $1.87. Actually, it fell lower than that in some cases. We had to save the oil companies that the price was getting so. We were doing incredibly. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country, probably the greatest economy in the history of the world. We were energy independent, soon to be energy dominant. We were going to be bigger than Russia and Saudi Arabia put together times 2. We have more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation. Any other nation. And these stupid fools ended it. And energy went from $1.87 and even lower for gasoline, for a car. They went from $1.87 to $5, $6, $7, $8, and even $9. And you're.
I will say, on my drive last year
Yeah.
in Los Angeles, I had to fill up my truck. It was $6.37 a gallon.
Fuck that.
No, we're in California.
In LA. Unreal.
Electricity bills went through the roof, your heating bills went through the roof, and that's what started inflation, and it hasn't stopped because people are paying now for bacon and for eggs and for the 2 and 3 times what it was just a little while ago. We created the greatest economy in history. A big part of that economy was got you the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country, bigger than the Reagan cuts, bigger than any cut. And also, Caitlin, also, as you know, we got the biggest regulation and regulatory cuts. This place was rocking, and then we were given a gift from China, and China paid a big price. And let me tell you something, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes from China. But prior to COVID coming in, and then I rebuilt the economy again, a second time. But we had, prior to COVID coming in as from China, from Wuhan, which I said it came from Wuhan. Everybody said, oh, you're wrong about that. You're wrong. It came from Wuhan. I said it right from day one. So we had the greatest economy in the world. Here's the story. They made energy so high, and energy is all invasive. It is massive as an industry and as cost. It lifted everything. If you made donuts, no matter what you did. And we had inflation, the likes of which I guess we haven't had, they said, for 52 years, but I think more than that. We had no inflation. We had the lowest energy prices we've had in decades. This country was rocking and rolling. And by the way, we had the most secure border in the history of our country.
Mr. President, we have more questions on the economy, and I want to make sure we get to all of those. As you know, the U.S. right now could be just 3 weeks away from defaulting on its debt. That could mean millions of jobs lost, people not getting their Social Security payments.
Oh, they're admitting this now?
They're admitting that Biden's crashing the economy? What?
Probably would put the U.S. economy into a recession. On that topic, I want to bring in Marta Cervella, a student here at St. Anselm. She is an undeclared voter who did not vote in 2020. Marta, what's your question?
Hi, Mr. President. So my question is, what do you think about the...
She wasn't crying. That's the true eyes of somebody who smokes the miracle plant. Red eyes. Come on.
United States current deficit?
If you knew you were going to have to be on CNN, would you not freaking smoke a bowl? just to admit to yourself that you would be on CNN. She had to take something for the anxiety she was going to be going through.
Situation, and how can we move forward?
Such an important question. So we're at $33 trillion, a number that nobody ever thought possible.
Ever.
When we had our economy rocking and rolling just prior to COVID coming in, like literally, we were making a fortune. And oil, we were going to make so much money from oil, we were going to start paying off debt. But then with COVID coming in, we had to do other things. We had to keep this country alive because it was so serious. But we have to get the country back. We have to lower energy prices. We have to lower interest rates. Interest rates are through the roof. Energy has to come down. It all has to come down.
So when they start saying, Mr. President, when you run for re-election, what are you going to run on? What are going to be your standards that you're going to run on that is going to benefit the United States of America? The easiest answer he can ever come up with. Undo everything freaking
Yeah,
Biden.
we'd have to do a
bring it.
a 4-year rollback.
He's going to bring it back to what he did. Bring it back to a financially stable, domineering country. So he's going to roll back everything that Joe Biden has destroyed our country with.
And we have to start paying off debt. But when we have a debt limit, and they use that very seriously. They came in, Schumer came in with Nancy Pelosi, and they were using, we'll violate it, we'll do whatever. They talked a whole lot different than they do right now. I say to the Republicans out there, congressmen, senators, if they don't give you massive cuts, you're going to have to do a default. And I don't believe they're going to do a default because I think the Democrats will absolutely cave because you don't want to have that happen. But it's better than what we're doing right now. Because we're spending money like drunken sailors.
So just to be clear, Mr. President, you think the U.S. should default if the White House does not agree to the spending cuts Republicans are
demanding? We might as well do it now because you'll do it later.
because we have to save this country. Our country is dying. Our country is being destroyed by stupid people, by very stupid people.
You once said that using the debt ceiling as a negotiating wedge just could not happen. You said that when you were in the Oval Office. So why is it different now that you're out of office?
Saying they're stupid is just being saying they're willfully know what the fuck they're doing out of their own greed and selfishness because they believe that
the U.S. defaulting would be massively consequential for everyone in this room, for all of
you. Don't know. It's psychological. It's really psychological more than anything else. And it could be very bad. It could be maybe nothing. Maybe it's you have a bad week or a bad day. But look, you have to cut your costs. We're spending $7 trillion on much of it on nonsense. $7 trillion on nonsense.
We've got another
I actually
question
said,
from a voter today.
get all of that money that was wasted, and frankly, the Senate should have never approved it. Get all that money that was wasted, and if they don't get rid of that, you'll have to default. Okay?
Mr. President, we've got another voter here
And by
tonight.
the way, you're going to default eventually anyway, but it's going to be much messier. I don't think you'll have to default. I think if the Republicans hold strong and they say we want let's say we want $5 trillion off. I really think the Democrats have no choice but to do it. And if I win, they're going to be doing the same thing to me in 2 years. I guarantee you that.
Mr.
They're
President,
going
we've
to
got
play a
another
very
voter
hard
here
ball game,
tonight.
and they did that before.
Bobby Petrino has been waiting very patiently. He's a student at St. Anselm. He's a member of College Republicans. He's an undeclared voter right now. He supported you in 2020. Bobby, what's your question for President Trump?
Hi, thank you for coming. This is a bit of a pivot, but with gun violence and mass shootings in the news cycle recently, I'm worried that state governments and the federal government are going to act to repress gun rights. Under your administration, you instructed the Department of Justice and the ATF to ban bump stocks. If elected president again, how would you act not only to defend our Second Amendment rights, but to restore rights that have been taken from us, such as, by example, recently the ATF's ruling on the pistol stabilizing braces?
Yeah, as you know, the bump stocks are actually a very unimportant thing. And NRA, I went with them and they said it doesn't mean anything. They're actually, all they do is teach you how to shoot very inaccurately. So we did that. There's been nobody that's protected the Second Amendment, as you know, like I have. I protected it through thick and thin, not easy to do. But we have a very big mental health problem in this country. And again, it's not the gun that pulls the trigger, it's the person that pulls the trigger. And we have to protect our Second Amendment. We have to protect our Second Amendment.
Mr. President, you dealt with a lot of mass shootings when you were in office. This year, there have already been more than 200 mass shootings in 2023. If you are reelected, are there any?
Did you hear that number? Over 200 in 2023. Is CNN purposely trying to dump Joe Biden right now and jump on the
maybe I don't think that that's what they're doing. I think that she doesn't realize how other people are going to reflect on it. You got to understand, these are also closer to the end of her interview questions, so she probably had to rush at the end and didn't double check with editors and whatnot. She just thought they were good questions.
But here's the thing that she said basically 200 shootings in 2023. Over.
I thought she said it. I thought she said 300.
Either
one is ridiculous because we're only in the 5th month of 2023.
2023. And who do you blame for that? Well, you blame your administration because they are not.
Their
policies are not reducing the anxieties that the government is going through, that the people are going through, and that's being reflected in people's actions in public.
I think that's a good analysis, but I also think that there is another ulterior push for these types of things. When you look at the people that have been doing the shooting, motive has always been a huge outlier of research in any kind of crime, and we kind of been ignoring a lot of motives. Let's place facts, and we don't really follow money anymore, even though that's supposed to be like the first tenement of any kind of research, especially when it comes to those types of special investigations. So we don't follow money. We don't ask questions as to how the kids can afford these weapons to begin with. We pretend
where they're coming from.
I've noticed the news has a tendency to pretend some of these individuals as kids when we find out later on that they're actually adults going to schools and shooting them up.
And now they're starting to relabel non-white shooters as white shooters.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing that one too.
That's crazy.
New gun restrictions that you would sign into law?
I would do numerous things. For instance, schools, we would harden, very much harden. And I also am a very believer. I believe in teachers. I love teachers. I think they're incredible. And they love the children, not quite like the parents, but they love the children in many cases almost as much. Many of these teachers are soldiers, ex-soldiers, ex-policemen. They're people that really understand weapons. And you don't need 5% of the teachers would be more than you could ever have if you're going to hire security guards. But in addition to that, have security guards. You have to harden your entrances. You have to make schools safe. And you can make other places safe. But it is a big mental health problem in this country more than anything else. And remember, we have 700 million guns. 700 million. Many people, if they don't have a gun, they're not going to be very safe. I mean, if they don't have a gun, it gives them security. Now, you need them for entertainment, you need them for hunting, you need them for a lot of different things. But there are people that if they didn't have the privilege of having a gun in some form, many of them would not be alive today. You know, there's a certain country that had a very strict policy on guns, very, very strict.
Which country?
Brazil. Okay. Brazil, very strict. And the former president of Brazil, and the killing was incredible. They were walking into people's homes and killing people. They had no protection. Said, go out and buy guns. People went out and bought guns, and it went way down. The numbers went way down because they had security. If you look at Chicago, Chicago has the single toughest gun policies in the nation. They are so tough you can't breathe. New York too, and other places also. All of those places are the worst and most dangerous places. So that's not the answer.
No new restrictions that you would sign if re-elected, Mr. President. I want you to meet Julie Miles, a registered nurse from Merrimack. She's a Republican who voted for you in 2020. Julie, what's your question for the president?
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate you answering this question this evening. How do you plan to appeal to women voters in New Hampshire who are concerned about the Dobbs decision and how states may change their laws?
Keep me posted, obviously, and if you end up having to go somewhere to fix his hiccup issue, if that's a thing.
So we will talk to you guys later. Sorry about the